Greetings, Anonymous Andrew with you. Life and the choices we make. So for those who are watching on YouTube, here I am. Okay, not so anonymous, right? Although I have done many videos on YouTube. This is just... So let me explain why I'm on YouTube tonight. This is technically the last episode of season 2. And I do not have a guest, okay? I figured let me do a complete solo episode and put it on video because I want to talk about the last 2 seasons and what's coming up in season 3. And I have a couple of topics that I want to talk about. First, at the end of every podcast episode, I ask you guys to leave me reviews. I beg for reviews, and I'm getting them. I am now approaching 70 reviews, okay? And my score has gone up. My rating, or whatever the fuck you call it. It's a 4.8, okay? And it was a 4.7 because somebody gave me a 4 or 3 or 1. I can't find the one who gave me the 1. I'd like to see what their problem is, but Apple doesn't show you. I have to go into Apple Podcasts and look at all the reviews, and I'm just too lazy to do it, to be honest with you. Or I'll get around to it because I'm really curious as to who would give me a 1. I know I'm not Joe Rogan, but come on. But anyway, all right, I'm happy. 4.8. Let me read you the last 3 reviews. All right, so... they're not frequent. There's 1 or 2 a month, but that's 68 reviews. I'll take it. I know some podcasts can't even get more than 10, so I'm happy. I'm not complaining. This is from Tim, NATC. It's titled Different Perspective, and this is 5 stars. There are tons of podcasts that talk about datings and relationships, but Andrew addresses them from the guy's perspective. He's straightforward and has an edge to him. I like it. Okay? And the edge, I'm thinking maybe the weekend rants, because that's my edge. Actually, I think this one mentions the rants. All right, this is from Jason Z27. A podcast that you can have... I gotta click on more. A podcast that you can have a beer with. Well, Jason, I would love to have a beverage with you, but I don't drink beer. But I think what he's saying is it's like you could sit down, have a beer, and really enjoy the podcast. Although he only gave me 4 stars. Andrew is an average guy from above average conversations. From the moment I first heard his voice, I knew Andrew so well. He's got a real Joe the Plumber vibe, but that doesn't mean he's simple and lacks depth. Quite the opposite. He has a lot of interesting thoughts on the wide range of topics, and the way he talks to his guests, and you can tell you're listening to a very special conversation. Definitely recommend. Great review. Thank you, Jason. I just don't know why it only warranted 4 stars, but not complaining. Not complaining. And the most recent one is about a week ago. I might have read these to you. But anyway, I'm reading the last 3 reviews. I don't know if I read them to you because I'm reading them because I've already read them. So I don't know if I read them to you or read them to myself. Perspective is everything. This is from a guy named Drewby Rides. And 5 stars. Appreciate the open perspective to life and the way a fellow Druid shares his stories. And Druid, D-R-E-W-D, I'm guessing his name is Andrew and he goes by Drew. Thank you, Drew. I personally don't like the name Drew. I grew up with that name. My father was Andrew. My grandfather was Andrew. And so the only way they would differentiate me around the house was to call me Drew. And I hated it. I just hated it. But That's me. I appreciate your name and your review. Okay, that's it for that. I got so much I want to talk about. A week or two ago, I had mentioned to you guys that I'm going to start taking questions, like romance questions. No, I am not a dating coach. No, I am not a therapist. I'm not a licensed mental health counselor. I am none of those. And while I could go get my certification, and it was suggested by somebody that I should go get certified, I don't have the time. I work a full-time job, and now I produce 2 podcasts. And for me to go get a certification in romance or dating or life coach, I don't even know what's involved. I don't know how much it costs, but it's just not, maybe a year from now when things... My goal would be to get rid of my day job and make this my full-time job. And we're going to talk about that too. Actually, let me jot that down. Monetization. Okay. So I said, guys and girls and ladies and men and everybody and in between, whatever gender you are, write in any questions that you might have for me. And I'll do the best that I can to answer. If you've been listening from the beginning, or if you're just tuning in, I came from a traumatic relationship several years ago, but I have been dating my whole life. I've been married twice. I got 3 kids, and in the past 20 years alone, I must have had 15, 20 girlfriends. I'm not boasting. That is not good. That's the whole reason I started this podcast, was that I have too many relationships that just never went anywhere. But along that journey, I learned a lot. And especially these past 2 years, after what happened in the last relationship, I have been interviewing guests. And now recently I am on dating apps, and I'm out there dating. I've been on 4 dates in the past 2 or 3 weeks, and that's a lot for me these days. I've been single now. In 1 month, I'll be single 2 years, which we're also going to bring up something about being single versus being in a relationship. We're going to talk about that. Okay. The point I'm getting at, and I know, guys, I tend to drag it on a lot. I know that was in some of the reviews. I don't either get to the point or I take too long to get to it. Somebody wrote me an email, and they have a question. And I was shocked. I said, I had to read it twice or 3 times because I was like, because up until this point, I really haven't been getting too many emails. I do get emails, but they're business related or whatever. I don't get emails from the listeners that often. So, he signed it anonymous, which is appropriate, so I can't address him. I do have his email, but I'm not going to divulge that. My girlfriend and I have been, so I'm going to read the email and then I'm going to attempt to answer it. My girlfriend and I have been together for 18 months. We love each other. I am 35 and she is 33. We met on Hinge. I love her a lot. I didn't print this out. I transcribed it, which my handwriting is terrible. I know she loves me. Since you talk about red flags a lot, I want to know if this is a red flag. And he's right. I at the end of every episode, I talk about don't ignore those red flags. When we are together, watching a movie or at a restaurant or simply hanging out, she always puts her cell phone down, face down. Okay, so I'm guessing he means, so here's your cell phone. I'm guessing he means putting it face down. So you can't see the cell phone. Signed anonymous. Wow. Okay. Well, first of all, I can tell you that's something that I went through in the last relationship and the one before that. Okay. I didn't notice the one before that so much until after I left the relationship. I started thinking, and I remember her always putting her phone down on the coffee table. We'd watch dinner and eat dinner. We'd eat dinner and watch TV at her, like she had like a nice coffee table. And when she picked up her phone to check it, she'd always put it face down. And there are two thoughts to that. And I'm going to take one side of those two thoughts. There are people who are going to be considerate. And if by putting your phone face down, you are not distracted. So if it's face up, and it depends on whether you have it on vibrate or not. If you have it face up, that's my other podcast. If you have it face up, you're going to see the push notification. So a Facebook message comes in, I don't know, if you're following a news channel, a news flash will come in, a weather flash will come in. I have Alexa. I get Alexa notifications all the time. You all day put your phone down for a day, don't touch it, and then 10 hours later pick it up. You will see, depending on how you set up your phone, 20 notifications. So I think some people are being courteous by putting their phone face down. So I'm spending time with you. I don't want to be distracted by the notifications, because let's face it, if I see a notification, I'm going to look. Like I'm going to do one of these and see who it is. It could be a text message. If it's a text message from a friend and I'm watching a movie with my girlfriend, I don't have a girlfriend. If I'm watching a movie with my girlfriend, I'm not going to answer that text. If it's one of my kids, I might answer. Now, if you're in a relationship, and at my age, if you're in a relationship with somebody else and they have children, they will understand. You might say, hey, it's my son. I want to just check that everything's okay. But the point is so I'm answering this gentleman's question. If she puts the phone down, face down, is she doing it to be courteous? I can't ask you this because you're not with me. So watch if she puts it down this way, but picks it up every couple of minutes to check it, then no, she's not being courteous. Okay? Because if she's putting it down so she doesn't get distracted, then she's really putting it down so she just doesn't deal with it. In that case, I would suggest she put it in her pocketbook or leave it in the next room. But that's something that she has to decide. And at the end of this answer, I'm going to ask you to do something. The other option of why she might be putting it down is what we're all thinking. She's got something to hide. And that could be another boyfriend. It could be a friend with benefits. It could be she's flirting with somebody. It could be an emotional boyfriend. It could be something that she doesn't want you to see. So putting it face down, she doesn't see it, but you don't see it either. But if the ding, chime, buzz, or whatever the sound of the phone makes, and she picks it up, that means she's hiding something. There's no other explanation. So, again, if she puts it down and leaves it down, even when it chimes or dings and doesn't pick it up, she's being courteous. If she picks it up when it dings or chimes, she's waiting for somebody, or she's checking to see if somebody that she's waiting for, or maybe she's not waiting, but she wants to see who texted her. You get it? So how do you deal with this? Oh, Alexa, stop. See?
timer stopped on Andrew Kitchen.
You see, I get that. In this case, I get a notification from Alexa verbally. I am making yogurt ice cream, and it's in the freezer. So I asked her to give me 45 minutes, and then I got to go turn it. This is the inside peek of the anonymous Andrew. Dude, anonymous, you have a couple choices here. You could simply ask her, why do you always turn it upside down? Which is what I did with my last girlfriend. I asked her, why do you always put the phone down? And I got gaslit, all right? I got a non-bizarre answer. It was just ridiculous. Something about, there are things on there that you, if you saw, you wouldn't truly understand, and then I'd have to go through a whole explanation. And so I said, is it something you're hiding? And she said, no, but you just wouldn't understand. All right, so you could do that. You could also just sit down with her one day and have a conversation about it, especially if you have nothing to hide. If your phone has no nude pictures on it from other women, if it has, if you're into sports and it's just got sports stats or fantasy apps or gambling apps or whatever, and you're not ashamed of that, you could sit down with her one day and say to her, would you be interested in going through my phone? We're going to open up another a can of worms with this. There is a lot of controversy on whether or not, especially in marriage or couples, we're entitled to privacy. So even in a marriage, I've heard married couples say, I don't go through his phone because I trust him, and we don't share each other's password. I don't know his password, he doesn't know mine, because they trust each other, and that works. But so the point is that you could ask her, would you be comfortable if I gave you my phone and I looked at your phone? That's a very, very aggressive approach to a question that you might not like the answer to. But pay attention to her answer. If you do ask her that question and she answers you with, no, I'm not comfortable with that, ask her why. And if you need to be educated about gaslighting and what it looks like, go back and listen to some of the episodes. I did a lot of episodes on gaslighting. The answers that she gives you, does it make sense? Or is she double talking you? Okay? There's another idea that I don't know if I would really recommend. But if you're watching TV one day, you're at a restaurant, and she's sitting with you, go reach for her phone and make up something. Say something like, my time, I have 7:20, and go pick up her phone just to say, hey, babe, I just want to make sure my date and time are right because mine doesn't seem right, and go reach for the phone. If she jumps to grab that phone before you can touch it, she's hiding something. Because if she had nothing to hide and you pick up that phone, or even if you didn't pick up that phone and she doesn't stop you, then that tells me she's okay. If she doesn't go to stop you, I would say that she's not hiding anything. Anonymous, I hope that answered your question. There was a lot in there, and that question I think is very relevant. A lot of people go through that in relationships, is the phone privacy thing. I don't have anything to hide on my phone, and when I'm with somebody, I even I carpool with my son, and There are times when I need him to check traffic. I'll hand him the phone and I'll say, "Can you put this address in?" Or whatever. And I just hand him the phone. I got nothing to hide from my son. So I guess it depends on who it is, but it's a relationship. It could be a problem. All right. Please, more questions. If you have a question, I'd like to hear from you. Or if you have a comment, or if you disagree what I just said, if you disagree with what I just said, I want to hear about it. I want to hear from you. Okay. Next up, we're going to talk about dating apps.
Sorry, Let's Chat is no longer available. For now, you can ask me questions or to do things like set a timer.
Alexa, stop.
Turn on a connection
I got to learn how to mute my Alexa. No, I don't. It's okay. This is the podcast that I produce. I don't care if Alexa goes off. I do silence my cell phone. I do put it on Do Not Disturb.
Do Not Disturb is already turned off.
Okay. What am I doing? Okay. I have talked about this. I am on 2 dating apps. I am on Bumble, and I am on... I hope you saw that. I love that when Apple does that. I am on Bumble, and I'm on Facebook. And let's try something. Let's go down. Yeah, I think it was too soon. Oh, yeah. You get the down bubble. Okay, cool. I think you see that, right? It's kind of cool. Okay. The last girlfriend that I was with, I'm going to say it. And I if she hears this, nothing I could do about it. She was beautiful. 10 out of 10. No doubt. And I was spoiled. I went out with her for almost 3 years. And every physical attribute about her body was perfect. I could think of maybe one thing that I would have changed if I had the ability, but I'm being really nitpicky. She was perfect. And I had sex with that body. I laid and cuddled with that body. I showered with that body. Okay, you get the idea. And that was also 3 years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago when I met her. And she was also 10 years younger than me. And she looked 10 years younger than that. So she looked like she was in her young 40s. I am not in my young 40s. I am not in my young 50s. I'll stop there. You can take a guess how old I am. This is going to come across horrific, and maybe even egotistical or narcissistic, but I put a lot of work into my appearance. I know. Right now, you're looking at a guy with long hair, a baseball cap wearing backwards, and a body filled with tattoos with a wife beater shirt on. So you might be saying, what the freak are you talking about? I'm not cursing because I think YouTube, you can't curse on YouTube. What the freak are you talking about? You don't look like you're in physical shape. Folks, I'm 64 years old. Now, you tell me whether I look 64 years old, okay? I have been complimented on all of my profiles on my dating apps. And in person, I've been complimented. And I do work out every single day. I'm not going to go through everything I do, but you guys know I play tennis, I ride a bicycle, I walk, and I have a gym in my bedroom. I work out. Okay, so I am in good shape, and for my weight and for my height and whatever that BMI, body mass index thing, I am just this much above where I should be. I could lose 10 pounds, and I'm working on it. My philosophy is and has always been, if I can do that, you should be able to do that. And I have been going, well, let's start with this one. I've been looking and swiping on the dating apps, and I will come across somebody my age, or maybe a couple years younger, like 62, and they look 72. And I know photographs or pictures, and when I'm not even talking about the filters that you can put these through. I'm assuming these pictures, they must be natural, because if some of the pictures that I'm seeing, I keep saying this, they look like Aunt Tilda, like their hair is in a mess, and it's not pretty. That's the lower end of what I'm looking at. And then sometimes you see the really nice looking ones or the very beautiful ones, and whether or not we match, if I swipe, I had that swiping fear of rejection. Like I see a beautiful woman, she's 57, she might look like my ex-girlfriend, and I swipe right on her, but what are the chances that she's going to swipe right on me or match with me? Probably not. So I stopped swiping, and I just sit back and wait for the women to come to me. And they do. Every morning I get new likes and new matches. I really wish I could hold up the phone and show you some of the dating profiles that I'm getting. But I obviously can't do that because I don't have their permission. I've learned something very valuable recently. Somebody told me, and it was therapy and my support group, that I can't start dating one woman and date one woman. I have to date multiple women at the same time. Because my history, I'm like an addict. I am an addict. I'm an alcoholic. I want more of the same. So if I see one pretty woman, I'm going to date her. I'm going to just focus on her, and I'm going to ask her in 3 weeks, hey, do you want to commit? That's too quick, too fast, and I'm settling for somebody because, now this is what I said to you earlier. I want to talk about something. There's a saying, it's better to be with somebody than be alone. And that couldn't be furthest from the truth. I have been single for 2 years now, and the first 6 months, maybe 8 months, was extremely difficult. I came home to an empty house. I didn't have anybody or a girlfriend to come home and hug and kiss and watch TV with and climb into bed with at night, and I didn't have company. But the past year, that all went away, and I am now enjoying my singlehood. I can come and go and do what the freak I want to do, and I don't have to answer to anybody, barring work hours. But on my time, it's great. It's really, really great. And now that I'm dating, I'm a little fearful that I'm going to have to give that up or some of it up. But all right, let's get back to dating multiple women. So I am currently talking to, if you include today, which I started talking to somebody today, 4 people, 4 ladies. And some of them are ongoing, like a text in the morning, a text maybe tomorrow afternoon, or a phone call tonight. There's like some sort of a frequency going on. There's 1 or 2 that it's, if I don't text them, they don't text me. So, and I think I said maybe at the last weekend rant, I'm not chasing you. So if I text you and you don't text me back, I'm not going to, not even after 24 hours or 36 hours, I'm not going to go back and go, hey, are you okay? Or why have I heard from you? Not doing that. You look desperate. You look needy. I'm not doing that. If I text you hey, good morning, hope you have a great day, or hey, are you free to talk tomorrow night? Because when I want to call somebody and chat on the phone, I always ask them politely on the phone, in texting first. Are you free tomorrow night to chat? Give them 24 hours notice, and she'll say, in my case, she'll say, yeah, how about 7 o'clock? And then I put down on my calendar, call Jane at 7 o'clock tomorrow night. By the way, I actually have a list that I keep. Let's talk about that for a second. I made a big boo-boo a month ago, and I told you guys about this. I was on a date with a woman, and she and I had talked on the phone already, and she was retired, and she told me on the phone prior to a date why she was retired, or what she was retired from, what field, what career she was in. I forgot. I completely forgot. And by the time we went on the date, which was almost 3 weeks after we met, I'm at this tea place, and I say to her, so what are you retired from? And she looked at me like I was an asshole, because she had already, we had a whole conversation. She retired from the same field I'm in, IT. So how could you forget that? I forgot it. Okay? And I look like an idiot. So now, and I wish I had it somewhere around here, I have a piece of paper that I take notes. So if there's somebody I really like on a profile, or we talk, or she gives me some information, birth dates, or names of her dogs, or cats, any kind of information, I write that down. When you talk to multiple people, women and ladies, if you're doing with men, it's hard to keep them straight sometimes. I don't know about you, but I'm at work and I'm texting, but I'm also working on a project. And then I get in a car and listen to a podcast, or I'm talking to my son. By the time I talk to that woman again on the phone, it could be 2 or 3 days later, and she brings up her dog or her cat, and I want them to know that I'm paying attention. So I'll say, hey, how is Spot? The name of the dog. And that tells her that I'm paying attention. Of course, I'm cheating, because I wrote down Jane's dog's name is Spot, and he is a Labrador. Okay? I do that. I'm giving you away some of my tips. I don't care if you're 25, 35. In my case, I do it because sometimes I get forgetful. But if you're talking to 15 people a week, and I know some of the younger generations, you guys are out on your dates, you're going on dates every night. But if you call somebody by the wrong name, if you say something that has nothing to do with them, so how's your dog Spot? I don't have a dog Spot. What are you talking about? That could be that can blow your whole date. Because the woman's not dumb. She's going to know that you're confusing her with another woman. All right? I have to take a sip of water. Sit here and yamble for a half hour. You know what? While I'm at it, I'm going to do my other vice. Folks, I vape. And vaping, I'm in recovery for 9 years, and I've stopped. There is nothing I put in my body anymore except this. And if anybody out there vapes, you know why. It's the hardest thing to give up. Cigarettes used to be the hardest thing. I've heard people say that cigarettes were harder than heroin. I've heard heroin addicts say it was easier to kick heroin than it was to kick cigarettes. Well, vaping is now the number one hardest thing to give up, because they make them taste so good. They last so long. This is a 9,000 puff vape. Lasts me 2 weeks. I pay $20 for it. What's a pack of cigarettes? In New York, they're $13, $14, $15. I haven't smoked in 15 years. But the cost, so if I wanted the same nicotine hit from cigarettes, I'd have to buy a pack a day. So for $20, it may not last exactly 2 weeks, but it is rechargeable. It's almost like I'm talking you guys into vaping. It's silly. Anyway, you know what? I'm not going to vape. Okay. I talked myself out of it. All right. We were talking about swiping and meeting. I gave you my list theory. Make a list. I am never, ever going to find my last girlfriend. I think I called her Laura. That's not her real name, but early in the podcast, I gave her a name. I will never find a Laura, although that's not really true, because the woman I ran into the supermarket 3 weeks ago was Laura's Doppler. There's a phrase that there's even I think a website out there. If anybody watches the show Evil on Paramount, they brought up in an episode that there is somebody out in the world that looks just like you. You have a twin, but they're not related to you, and it's called the Doppler effect, which means that there's the same person as you physically out there. They're not the same mentally or emotionally, but they're your twin. And I don't know if this is fictitious, but there was a website called Doppelfinder or something, and you can take a picture of yourself, and this thing will go out on social media, and they will look for anybody that looks like you, and you can find out whether there is somebody that looks like your Doppel twin. So I found a woman. So let me rephrase that. When I said I'll never find someone like that again, I did find somebody. The question is, will I date her or be in a relationship with her? And that is much more harder to do, because as you go back and listen to the episode that I did not approach this woman in the supermarket. Point. Let me get to the point. I am now, I was swiping on all the pretty women, and like they had to be 9.5s. Once in a while I would swipe on an 8. Dude, I said to myself, dude, they're not gonna swipe you back. They're not gonna match you back. I'm enjoying my singlehood, but I also would like to be with somebody. Tonight is 90 freaking fucking I said it. 90 degrees where I live, and the boardwalk is 6 blocks that way. And I could be down at the boardwalk with a cool breeze, watching the sunset with a woman. But I don't have one. And I would like to do that. So, new policy for Anonymous Andrew. I am now swiping, or let me rephrase that. If I get a match from somebody and they're within 10 miles of a distance, no matter what they look like, I accept the match, because I would like to have a conversation with that person. I need to practice. I need what they call fodder, which means I can come back and report to you. You guys are going to think I'm skipping all over the place here. I was listening to a podcast earlier about one of my favorites, and they were talking about how modern dating sucks. That's the newest trend now on TikTok, is everybody's complaining. It doesn't have to suck. These dating apps are there to just introduce two people. It's not the dating app's fault. It is my fault. Everything I just explained to you, I just said to you, I'm looking for the Mrs. 9.5 or the lookalike of Laura. And I could sit here and swipe until next Tuesday. I'm not going to find her. So, Andrew, start accepting some of the women who like me. I am telling you, every morning I wake up, there's a like. Either on Facebook or Bumble, or both. The only time I will not like them back is if they're an hour away. So you know what? I'm not going to tell you where I live, because if you've been listening, you know where I live. But today I'm not going to mention it. But I don't want to date somebody 60 miles. So I went on a date 3 weeks ago with somebody who lives 40 minutes away. It took me 50 minutes to get there. There was some rain, and she lived in a very urban area, and it was not something that I liked. And I said no. We went on the date, and I texted her the next night. I said, "You're a nice lady." I've been burping a lot lately. "You're a nice lady, but I just don't feel a connection." And that's all you have to say. I didn't ghost her. Anyway, the point is I am now accepting more and more likes. This morning, I got a like from somebody who lives 10 minutes from here. 10 minutes. Ideal. Perfect distance for me. I hate saying this. She wasn't my type. I was going to give you a number, like a ranking, but I think that would be rude. There was something about her that I looked at and I said, not my type. But she was very, I don't want to take up your time, very sweet, very, very nice, complimented me on my profile, said some nice things, and I have decided that I am going to entertain all likes except the ones that are too far away. And even then, there is a woman who is in the next state over that I'm talking to. She's pretty, and she has on her profile friendship and or long-term relationship. So let me chat with her. People, chat, texting with these people. This is what these dating apps are all about. They're supposed to introduce people together. If you don't match with them or interact with them and chat with them, and then you turn around and go, dating apps suck. They don't. It's you. It's me. The apps are bringing people together, but we're choosing, I don't like, this one is a Virgo, or this one voted for Trump, or this one voted for Biden, or this one is a vegan. I saw one the other day and she said, I'm a vegan. I don't care. We're not getting married. And if we do get married, we'll work it out. I'm not even, I don't even think I interacted with her. I'm just bringing up an example. Sometimes the deal breakers that you have in place in your head, you gotta ease up on some of them. Ugh. All right. So going forward, I am going to entertain all likes that like me. There is a sneaky way of filtering them out if you find out so like I'm chatting with this woman today, and I already know in the back of my mind I may not want to pursue it, but I want to talk to her for a couple days. But I already know that if I need an exit strategy, I already have it planned out. Now, I know some people are going to say that's negative thinking, you're manifesting negativity, and you're probably right. You're right. I probably shouldn't do that. I should probably be more positive. People can detect your mood. Is it mood? Your aura, whatever vibe you're giving off, they will detect that, whether it's through texting or phone call or even in person. I went on a date last weekend, a real date. Like, we went out. It was, I told her I wouldn't talk about this. I went on a meet and greet. Went great. Really, really good. And we're going on a second one. All right. I told her I would not talk about it, so I'm not going to say much more. But that's what I'm talking about. I am going on as many multiple dates as I can. I need to get out there, meet these people, and you never know. When you meet a picture, somebody on your, that was my granddaughter. When you meet somebody on a dating app and then you talk and then you meet in person, you never know what is going to happen that day. Something wonderful could happen that you two could click. Even though you might look at the picture and say, nah, not for me. Go check them out. Go on a date. Go on a meet and greet. Go have a cup of coffee with them. Especially if they're local. What do you have to lose? All right. I could go on for another half hour on this. Here's the deal. Season 3 starts in 1 week. All right. I have a lot of work to do between now and next week. This weekend is Labor Day weekend. We're supposed to get not so great weather. It's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be hot or not, but we're supposed to get some storms. I'm going to take one of those days, lock myself in here. I am revamping this podcast. By the way, I finally hit the 10,000 downloads. So thank you to my audience. I am over 10K, and thank you. When I started this podcast, I had no idea, dreams, aspirations that this would turn into what it has turned into. So spread the word, keep those reviews coming in, and keep listening, because I'm just, thank you. And that's why I'm pursuing season 3, and I want to ramp it up, and I want to be better music, better intros, better sound, better quality, better guests. And that's not to say the guests that I've had on weren't good. We're going to go in a different direction, okay? The last 2 seasons were all about trauma, gaslighting, cheating, deception, self-respect. It was kind of like me getting back on my feet, but bringing you along for the ride. Now it's going to be still my journey, but I want you to listen to. I got some really good guests lined up, and I'm really going after some top-notch guests. I want to delve deep into this dating in the modern society, because it's getting a bad rap. People are tired. Dating fatigue. It's getting bad. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't. It's all in the mindset. And I was one of those people that were fatigued from the dating apps. And all I did was change my mind, my attitude. And I said, I'm going to start talking, texting, and dating or meet and greets everybody that I could possibly can. That if they meet the only deal breaker for me are the long distance ones. I'm just not going to go an hour. I'm just not. I have limited time as it is. But if you're 10 minutes away or you're by the beach, 20 minutes that way, I'll take the ride. Last Sunday, I went 40 minutes to somebody, and I had a great afternoon. Again, I told her I wouldn't talk about it, but it was a really good, it was a meet and greet. It was supposed to be 30 minutes, 20 minutes. We were there for 2 hours. Didn't expect that. I thought I'd be there and back in an hour and 10 minutes, Okay. So, season 3. Coming 1 week from today. All right. But I got a lot of work to do. So I'm going to get off this rant. Let me just make sure I covered everything, because I tend to stop and then I go, oh shit, I forgot something. I would really like to rip one into the Twin Flames universe, but I think I'm going to leave that alone for now. For those who know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. All right. So here we go. If you like the podcast, if you like my rants, and today's not really a rant. Today was just me coming on here and just kind of giving you a summarization of the podcast, first 2 seasons, and where I'm going, where I'd like to go. You guys got me here. All right. One of the things that would really make me smile is, there is one more thing I want to talk about, is I want to hear from you. I would like to hear some questions. If you got any romantic questions, dating questions, anything, even family stuff. I got 3 kids, 2 grandkids. I've been married twice. There's a good chance that I'll be able to give you some guidance. Running 2 podcasts and doing this for almost 2 years now, this costs money. And I'm not going to get into what, but equipment, services, subscriptions, recording platforms, and etc. They add up, and it's coming out of my pocket, and that's my choice. But I am going to start looking into how I can start pulling in some capital to help offset some of my costs. And I may do something like buy me a cup of coffee. So if you see in the show notes or on my website, there's this thing where you can buy me a cup of coffee, which literally means $1 or $2. It's just like a PayPal thing. I haven't fully looked into it, but you can click on it and Venmo me like $2. And you could do that once a week, once a month, or once ever, and that's it. And the idea is that you're just donating, like you're tipping me. I feel silly asking for it, but it's costing me money to do this, and it's my passion, and I want to do this, but I'm going to ask for help if I can. If you can, drop me a couple of bucks here and there, great. If you can't, I'd love you to keep listening and not worry about it. Down the road, when I start getting 20,000 people, there may be a commercial here or there. We haven't gotten to that point yet, so I know we all fast forward through the commercials. So anyway, okay, back to, boy, I know why you guys don't like me when I ramble, because I just never stay on topic. Oh, guys, I've been up since 5:30 this morning. Okay. And all I want to do is crawl into my bed and just eat my yogurt ice cream. Leave me a review. Spread the word. And yeah, watch out for those red flags. And if you think you see a red flag in a relationship, email me, all right? Or drop it in the review. If you don't want me to know your email, you can put it in the Apple review if you have Apple. All right. If you don't have it, that's the only one you can leave a review. I'm on all of the social media: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Threads. I'm on all X. I'm on all of them. Drop me a line on one of them. All right. Okay. I'm out of here. Anonymous Andrew. Until next time, or until next season, season 3. Ciao.